South Carolina plays UCLA today. If the Notre Dame and USC game is anything to go off of, it should be a fun game. Corey Close has not beaten a Dawn Staley-led team, so I imagine this is a matchup she badly wants to win. I know you're probably thinking I lost my mind. How can I possibly pick a team against the GameCocks? Before the season, I wouldn't have said this, but South Carolina looks very vulnerable to me, even though they are still a very good basketball team and will blow out most of the teams that they play. There's a clear step down compared to the team to last year. When Aaliyah Boston left for the draft, it wasn't a big deal because it was obvious that Camila Cardoso was going to fill in and dominate. This year, they don't have that. I think Ashlyn Watkins would have filled this role, and maybe she still will. But it's clear she needs more time to get ingratiated with the team and find a more defined place in the rotation, which works in UCLA's favor. Right now, South Carolina doesn't have an identity yet. They don't have a go-to center like Camila Cardoso. They are shooting more threes to make up for it, but are shooting noticeably worse from three. Their pace is down from last year, even though it would be ideal for them to speed up. It's not as bad as USC, but it's a similar thing where right now they are just relying on their huge talent advantage rather than having elite execution that we're accustomed to seeing from Dawn Staley-led teams. On the other hand, it's very early, but this is the best a Corey Close-led team has ever looked. I've been skeptical of her when it comes to X's and O's, but this team is about as coach-proof of a team as you can get. I'm sure people thought I was crazy when I said Lauren Betts would be a first-team All-American before the season started, but she's showing exactly why she can be one right now. She's averaging 21.5 points, 11.5 rebounds on a ridiculous 72% from the field. While she's getting double and triple teamed, the 2 blocks per game and 3 assists per game can't go unnoticed either. It's amazing how much better a team looks when they consistently give their 6'7" player the ball. The Chicago Sky might need to take notes. Just saying. But it's not just Lauren Betts individually. Her chemistry with Gardner is unbelievable. You would think they have been playing together for years. When Lauren is swarmed in the paint, she finds her every time. In only 4 games, she has hit 19 threes on a 58% clip. This is going to cause a lot of problems for South Carolina. They will be forced to put one of their posts on the perimeter to guard Timea, which will free up the lane for not only Lauren Betts, but for Janiah Barker and their guards. If Gardner stays hot, South Carolina is in massive trouble. Lauren Betts is too good to be single covered, but if you double her, it's going to leave someone wide open, which ends up being Gardner a lot of the time. Ashlyn Watkins is someone I definitely have my eye on this game. If she doesn't start, I would be shocked if Ashlyn doesn't check in almost immediately, because Chloe Kitts and Fagan have absolutely zero chance of containing Lauren. They don't have the height or athleticism to stop her. Ashlyn is 6'3" like Fagan, but is noticeably more athletic. Janiah Barker is going to be the X factor for this game. I know you're probably thinking, she was not super impressive when she played against South Carolina in the SEC tournament, so why should we care now? The difference now is she was at the top of South Carolina's scouting report, but at UCLA, there's so many other players you have to worry about. Ashlyn ideally is the person you want to guard Barker, but she's going to be tied up with Lauren Betts. Janiah at the 3 position is going to be an absolute nightmare. Bree Hall is going to want no parts of that. But what's more important than Janiah's ability to score is her rebounding and defense. Chloe Kitts has been South Carolina's best player so far, which is fine for 99% of the games they'll play. But she's going to have a very difficult time doing what she does with Janiah Barker and Lauren Betts in her face. She's going to have a very hard time getting off shots that aren't mid-ranges, and her rebounding potential is going to be limited. She's not going to be nearly as impactful as she was against Michigan. Now, one thing that makes me very nervous about my prediction is Te-Hina Pow. To say Te-Hina and London Jones is a mismatch would be an understatement. Te-Hina is going to grill, bake, boil, roast, stir-fry, air-fry, however you cook your Thanksgiving food is what she'll do to London Jones. Corey Close isn't the greatest at making adjustments, but I think for them to win this game, London's minutes have to be limited. The same way Sanaya Fagan won't be able to defend Lauren Betts, I feel that way about London Jones guarding Pow. If South Carolina does in fact win this game, I think it's going to be because of Te-Hina and Fulwiley. South Carolina is going to need Malaysia Fulwiley to dominate. That's the one player UCLA can't do anything about or match. She completely took over some games last year, most notably in the SEC tournament. I think for them to win, she's going to need one of those types of games. South Carolina cannot rely on winning the front court battle like they normally do. I expect Pow Pow to continue to light it up, but she needs another player to pick up a big part of the scoring load. But it can't just be full Wiley either. For South Carolina to win, they are going to need the Tessa Johnson that went up against Michigan. Joyce Edwards has been okay so far, but they are going to need more than just okay against the monstrous front court that UCLA has. For UCLA, Tamea Gardner has to continue to be hot from three. If there's any game where she needs to stay hot, it's this one. That's the difference between UCLA winning and losing. There's two players I haven't brought up yet, Kiki Rice and Raven Johnson. This might seem weird as they were both instrumental pieces of the team last year. But Kiki Rice missed the first few games due to a shoulder injury and played limited minutes against Arkansas. It's very difficult to say what kind of impact she would have. If she was fully healthy, I think she would ball out. But who knows? In Raven Johnson's case, she's been in the worst slump of her career. She hasn't made a single 3 in 13 attempts, and she's shooting an abysmal 20% from the field. She's obviously better than this, so I don't expect it to last, but I don't expect it to be fixed as soon as today either. I think the trio of Lauren Betts, Janiyah, and Gardner will be too much for South Carolina's post. A big advantage South Carolina always has is their depth, but UCLA has that too. I didn't even bring up Duga Leash, who looks a lot better than she did a year before. Corey Close also picked up a really good freshman point guard overseas. It looks like they will be just fine when Kiki Rice eventually enters the WNBA. But that's it for this video. I know I'll get grilled if this doesn't come true, but I'll still leave the video up. I ain't ducking the smoke. Thanks for watching.